What's going on, everyone? So it's a new week in the shop, and I am going to attempt to get these doors ready for primer and this trunk, and hopefully I can get those done, and I might actually start the patch panel on the driver's side of the lemans. So kind of a hefty bill this week, but I'm going to try and do it because I'm trying to race the wintertime, and I don't want to be painting a car when it's cold out. So hopefully we can get all this knocked out and make a deadline before the snow's on the ground. So I'll show you what I got going on. So this trunk lid, it's actually not in too bad a shape. It had a couple little ripples along there I started on, and there's just a little bit of waves in there, and then just a little tiny thing up on the corner. But other than that, it feels pretty good. We'll know again once we prime and block if there's any other little things that show up. But for now, I think that's going to be a pretty quick one. This is the, what is this? The driver's side door, and it's actually in pretty good shape. I think there's a couple little waves along the bottom here. The rest of the door seems good, again, until we get a block on it. But right here we got a little crease, and as you can see, these are those little studs. I've got a stud gun here, and yeah, it just heats up, welds these things. Instead of drilling holes and all that, these will spot weld themselves on there, and you can just slide hammer those up and then kind of work this lip and get this back up where it needs to be, and this lip rolled back down. This looks like it got caught between the fender or something, so it almost, just rolled like this and pushed this in. So pulling this back up, pushing that back down, that should get our line back. But that's also the reason why we're going to put these doors on and off the car a couple times before we actually paint them, and just make sure that we don't got to tweak any of these gaps or anything. And yeah, it's just something you want to double check with, especially when you're doing something right on this edge here. So this little area's got, caught in a couple little waves in there. So we're going to get that worked out and just check it out one more time. And then this door, this is the one that's a roller coaster. So I got to finish stripping some stuff on the inside and everything. And yeah, I figured I'm going to get the two easy panels done first. And then I'm going to work on this, and as I'm mudding and beating and doing stuff on this, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to start fitting a quarter panel as things are drying and doing its thing on this one. So it's going to be kind of a chaotic week, and hopefully I got time to get all this stuff done. But yeah, so let's get going. All right, so I worked this a little bit. There's still just a little bit of creases here and there, but I'm pretty close, and I don't want to pull it up too high. I mean, there's really not a whole lot of gap in there. So I think I am going to grind these little nubs off here, and I'm going to call it good. So, because I don't want to deform this edge or get a bunch of humps and then start having to beat everything down. So I'll grind all this back down. I'll check it again and see what it looks like. And then I'm sure we'll fine tune this edge just a little bit more. But yeah, I think I'm going to call that pretty good. So I got a couple little divots here and there. There's maybe a little, I might put a little stud there, but overall, when you sight this thing, I mean, right there, that little divot, that's got a little bit of daylight, but for the most part, it's pretty much right where it needs to be. So I might put a little, I mean, it's not going to hurt if I do a little mud in there or whatever, but I think I'll go ahead and pull that one just a little bit. And I am going to call that good and put a little skin of goop on it. And it's always kind of on all doors and everything, it seems like there's always, and it's just like that on the quarter panel right by the door, where all that stuff slams and flexes, you always get just some little kind of wavy stuff. So I usually don't even question it. When I am working on something, I'll at least pull back, 4 inches off this and just feather in whatever's on that edge there. It's not enough to really, there's really nothing to work out of it, but it will show a wave when it's shiny. So I usually just kind of skin those edges. Kind of here too, it's just like when they fold these edges and stuff. And again, I mean, this is kind of going to extreme for just a backyard job, but it's stuff that I know happens. And I mean, you can just see these little edges here. So yeah, both sides I'll skin these down and everything. And then there is one little ding here I'll get on the inside and dolly that out. And I think this door is pretty much going to be about ready. So, yeah, it's kind of nice to have a quickie. Actually, I shouldn't open my mouth too soon because you never know how that goes. But anyway, yeah, let's get to fixing this thing. So this stud gun is a pretty handy little unit because this, you can't get to the inside of it because this is a pinch weld right here. And yeah, the lip actually goes right to about here, and then the inside of the door is about here. So there's really nothing. This is all double wall and everything, and it's kind of a pain to get in and pull any of this. So this, you can take a little stud and you just stick it in the end of this thing. If I can do this with one hand. And then, like those little divots that I want to do, let's say we'll just do it right here. You stick her down on there, and this is spring loaded on the tip, so the gun pushes down and makes a ground. And then up here you got a switch. And so when I flip that with my fingers, it'll glow and just spots weld that stud on there. And then you take your slide hammer, and the one that comes with this is pretty cheesy, and the little deal that's supposed to grip the studs doesn't grip. So my homemade version, I just tacked on these vice grips, and I just clamp them on there, and then I can just slide the hammer back and forth and pull those little dings out. So it doesn't usually take too much, but it's just an easy way of pulling stuff out on seams and areas that you can't get to. So anyway, I'm gonna put another stud here, and I'll work these two little dings out, and we're gonna call this thing good. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Like I say, there's still some little dings here, but it is nothing deep or anything. And when you look from underneath, there's a lip right under here. I mean, everything's right in this big area here. So I could probably put studs and just keep working and messing around, but like I say, it's fairly smooth other than this little bit of a crease here. And I'll just skin that, and I'm calling it good. So yeah, I'm gonna move on, because otherwise I could spend all day trying to metal finish this, and it really isn't gonna make, like I say, there's hardly even daylight between this when you look at it. So anyway, I'm gonna move on to probably this little ding right here. So yeah, and then maybe we'll smear a little goop on this thing. So this guy's just a fairly mild little divot. There's a little bit of an edge here, and so it's like from the inside I can pretty much push out on that, and you can kind of see the halo of the dent here. But if I push this up a little bit and tap around this little bit of a halo, that'll stay out. Then all I'm going to do is dolly this little bit of crease that's in here out, and that should be good. So yeah, like I say, trying to read how these work. When the metal goes down, it's got to go somewhere else, and so generally there's going to be a halo around it. And so when you push that up, bring that halo back down, and that'll hold its rigidity. It gives it that crown that it needs to stay up, and puts the metal back where it wants to be. If you just start beating out and don't really, you just start hammering, all you're doing is stretching metal, and then this naturally is going to want to push out with it. And so you kind of got to put this back down and bring this back where it needs to be, and let that metal sit where it's supposed to be. And then it's not all oil can, because the more you beat this, even if you're not dollying it, you'll stretch it, and you end up with an oil can, and then you end up with a whole bunch of dents and dings all over. So kind of pushing this out and working that down will hold that up and pretty much repair your dent. And then the only dollying I'm going to do is just to flatten this little area here. So well, let's give her a try. Alrighty, I don't know if you can tell or not, but you don't really see the halo around here. There's still paint in this, because those are the low spots. I haven't DA'd it yet. But when I put my stick on here, there's there's a tiny bit of daylight right there, but we got her pretty well gone. So I'll run the DA over that, knock the paint out of there, and that's pretty much ready for a little skin. So this door, I hope, is pretty close to being ready to go. So we might get this and the trunk lid done today at least. Alrighty, well, I got some mud smeared on there and a little mud over here, and yeah, my hardener is now blue. The other stuff was the red stuff, but anyway, that's why that's a different color. But anyway, I'm gonna let this stuff cure, and I'm gonna start kind of messing with this door. So I'm gonna flip it over and kind of get a plan. So I guess first thing, now that I got the windows and the door handle and everything out of this thing, I got to finish stripping all this yellow. So I'm going to get that done real quick, and we'll get on dents. So as you can see on this driver's side door, there's actually, this is raised up. These are both dimpled up where the door handles go. This one is not. So that's all that Bondo. That's like a 1/4 inch right there, and that's burying that whole entire body bulge for that handle. So we'll grind all this off and let's see if that's even still in this door. So I've had a saying, and it's do your best and glob the rest. And I think this was a glob the rest and then do your best. I don't know. I'm going to adopt the glob it all because it's fall and I need to get this done. But anyway, it looks like this bump is still somewhat there, but they kind of beat it down because they were getting so high over here by not working the metal that they had to beat down a good part of the door to accommodate for the bad part. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, we'll be able to get her straightened out. It's not going to be any cream puff. I'm going to look and see if I can get a door skin, because I almost think putting a skin on this would be a lot easier than fighting all this. And if I can either find another door, a door skin, but in the meantime I'll start working on this thing and see if I can get it kind of stretched out and back where it needs to be. But it's definitely rough, so it's fixable, but it's going to take a bit. So anyway, I think I'll start messing with this and see. But yeah, I'm going to definitely look for a skin. So I think I'm going to just start on this end and just kind of start working my way down and see how this thing goes. But that's another thing about this gun too. You can use it to shrink steel also, because you can get it red hot and it'll make a little spot, and if you hit it with your air gun, it'll pull that metal back together. So if this gets real oil canny, instead of picking or whatever, you know, I can shrink it with that thing and get this to maybe start pulling tight. But this is definitely going to be a bit of work, but I don't know. Let's see what we can do. I don't mind a challenge. I am slowly making some progress, so I'm to about here, and I mean, it's a little lumpy bumpy. I got to still finish it, but I'm just working the major waves out of it, then I'll come back. But it's been basically picking and pushing up and getting everything to go around and get this crown shape to it again. And I'm a little high here, so I'm either going to have to shrink it or pick it down. But yeah, we're definitely winning on this. It's going to get a little bit more crazy when we get up into all this mess up here, but we'll see what we can do. Like I say, we are definitely improving on what they had, so I don't know. I think I'm going to be able to save it, so we'll keep on going with it. So when I talk about using a pick on this, this is just like an old screwdriver. I just sharpened into a point, but you can use it, and like this is all kind of high right in here, and you can use that, and I just tap it with my hammer on the end, and you can just go around, and it's just little pinpoint little dots, but it's basically they're little tiny dents. So all they do is they pull that metal back and they tighten it all up and everything. And in a way you're shrinking it, but you're just creating a bunch of little tiny dents in it. But it gets these high spots. These are all stretched because when they drilled these holes and started slamming, they pulled all that metal up. So yeah, you got to kind of shrink it back, and you can use heat, you can use this. This is a little more precise for like just kind of picking stuff down, having a little bit more control. But I've gone all over this thing, picking and stuff, and it's, like I say, there's some highs, some lows, and I got a lot more to go yet, but we're definitely gaining on it. So anyway, I'll keep on doing that and keep working it until this gets relatively smooth. We're not too far away, but we still got a bit to go. So anyway, that's what a pick does. Well, I've been kind of bouncing around in here, and finally this trunk lid is ready to prime, and this door is ready to prime. So I'll get those shot. I'm going to wait before that and finish up on this door. I just kind of been working on that off and on. And as you know, the C10, I've been bouncing around, so a lot's happened. This is kind of a video of a couple of different days worth of dinking around in here. So, but we're getting caught up on these, and we will get this stuff in primer, and then we get to move on to this quarter panel finally. So things are finally happening on this. Hopefully we can get some progress done on that, get it out of the way so we can eventually get on that. So but anyway, let's I'm going to jump back on this door and finish beating those dents out. Well, I've got this somewhat roughed out, but the more I'm doing, I mean, it's getting pretty oil can now. So this is pretty high yet, and it's stretched pretty hard. So everywhere that they pulled and did that, you know, they stretched it this way. Whatever pushed it in, pushed it and stretched it that way. And no amount of hammering and dolling is gonna fix that. The metal's actually longer than what it needs to be. So we gotta shrink all this. And one thing about having these holes, that will help me shrink some of this panel, but I am going to do it with a torch. And it's been years since I've done this, but generally the thing is, I don't know if you can see, so this right here is pretty high. So all you really do with a torch is when you heat this up, the metal, when it cools, it wants to shrink and pull together. As you heat, this is going to grow and it'll expand, but then as you cool it, it'll cool down and shrink and pull all this back together. But as you hammer and dolly this too while it's hot, you'll be forcing all those molecules to compact together. So we're going to heat up the middle of this, get this down pretty close to flat, start working this out, and as I go, I'm going to kind of almost try and push the metal to the middle where it's hot and it's softer and this metal wants to go, and that's going to pull this whole panel together and hopefully get this bump out of here. And it'll be kind of the same concept when I'm welding, but I'm going to leave some of these holes. I don't know if it'll help or not, but if I get this hot around here with nothing there, then hopefully it'll shrink a little faster. Then I'll go back and weld and we'll dolly all the holes and everything. But yeah, we got to start getting a little structure in this, because I get something down there fixed and it's pulling this down, and I say, but we're lumpy, but we're definitely not what as lumpy as it was. So anyway, let's go ahead and give this a shot. All right, so I got my torch here. Looks a little plugged. I'm just gonna, you can see it grow. We'll get that nice and hot. And then shut it off. And I've got a dolly under here just waiting. Definitely got her tighter, and that mound is, we're going to give her a little more like over here. You kind of got to be quick, but you really see it hump up, but that's it. Stretching under the heat. And as we cool, we can actually watch that lower down. And that, I don't know if you'll be able to tell or not, but that got a lot of that big. This was really humped up. We got a little bit to work down here. But yeah, if we go along this whole door and kind of work these spots out, bringing this down, and as that pulls tight, it's going to pull this tight and just start getting our shape back. But we're not as humped up. You can see them way down there where there's some humps, but this is starting to flow with the panel better, and we're not the great big waves. This is definitely, I see why somebody that either wanted it done quick or was intimidated by this, because this is some stuff that not everybody knows or is comfortable doing. And again, in my book, broken's broken. So it's like, I don't think I could get much worse than what this was even by doing this, but I don't know, but this is definitely helping. And as we go along, we just start working all this. We'll just start pulling it together tight, and I think we can save it. So it's definitely going to be some work, but it's kind of satisfying to know that you saved something that was this messed up too. So I'm going to go ahead and do a few more spots, and then we'll see how it looks. So this is what I've been doing, and there's a little oil can, but I haven't got it up in here, but it's definitely a lot stiffer and holding its shape. We'll start getting some of these out. There's a little low here. Once I stretch that should pull this tighter and kind of bridge that area. But yeah, it's just going along and working. I mean, it's definitely taking a lot, but it's getting a lot smoother now. So I don't know if you can see the profile of it now, but we don't have quite the lumps and bumps that we did when we started this. So yeah, and then like I say, once I weld these little holes up, that'll shrink a little bit more. There's a little bit of a high spot here, but like I say, it's definitely coming heads and shoulders better than it was. So we'll just keep working our way down and doing the same technique. It's time consuming, but we're not going to need a door hopefully after this. So let's keep on trucking. So this is actually coming out a lot better than I thought it was gonna. So I'm almost to the end here. I mean, you can still see there's a lot of waves and everything, but back here we're getting pretty consistent. And maybe I'll hit this with the DA real quick and just feather this out, and you can kind of see the shine and stuff on it. But I mean, there's still, you can kind of see a little more metal finishing. But I think once I get all these dots out of here and weld up some holes, I think she's going to be pretty close. So anyway, I got just a little bit more to go, and we'll see how she turns out. Well, so far I'm very happy with this. It's definitely coming along. You can see that's kind of the craters of the moon. There's just a bunch of little pits here and there. But if I put this square on here and you get down, so I've got a little bit of low there, but I mean, that's like, even to mud that right now, I mean, that's not even an 1/8 inch, but, and then we're there. So I got a little bit in the middle, which I could maybe stretch a little if I have to. I could work a little bit more of this. But yeah, that's the worst part, and I see it right now, is that little belly right there. So yeah, a little bit of working from the backside, and I can bring that up, and we'd be pretty good. We are way better than what we were. So again, it's all patience, and I know I always say watch your heat, but this is one of those rare times where you need heat. So it's just kind of learning how this stuff works. Like I say, you want to all that stretch, so you got to shrink it back and get it back to what it was. But this definitely could take a skin of mud. I'm probably going to go a little bit more just because I want to see what I can do with this. But it's just hard to get in and planish all this little stuff without like a big planishing hammer. And, you know, they make the big jaws that can reach in and stuff. But I don't think I'm going to get that crazy. But I definitely don't want 1.5 inches of mud in this door. So, and we'll see too, once I start welding these holes in here, that's going to pull a little bit more. But I don't think I want to go any shrink any more here in the middle. So I'll probably have to stretch it a little bit. But anyway, I still got a little bit left up here. This edge over here is going to be the hardest part, but I think we'll get her handled. So yeah, let's keep on going. Hopefully this kind of shows, maybe from a distance you can see how much better this has gotten. I still got, there's a dent right there still, but as far as how this whole center section was just a roller coaster, and we actually have about the correct skin shape on this. So yeah, we're working our way down, and we might actually have this thing metal finished tonight. Well, I was really hoping to get all this done tonight, but I got most of this pulled out and stuff, kind of working this side. But this half from about here down is about done. I did a little bit more. I'm going to about call it good. I've got few tiny little spots, but like I say, that's a skin of mud. And the more I beat around and stretch and shrink and mess around, sometimes you just kind of are fighting a dead horse. So again, if I was more skilled, I'd probably finish it better, but that's probably about good enough for me. We'll see how the rest of this goes. Maybe once this comes in, and that'll follow suit a little bit more. But yeah, I just got just a little bit here, and I'm ready to start shrinking this stuff. But I'm gonna turn my torches off for the night and pick back up on this thing tomorrow, but we'll be hopefully smearing this thing in some goop tomorrow, and I might be priming this stuff. I will be priming this stuff this week, and we'll be moving on to a quarter panel. Well, we're definitely making some progress, and this door we should be done hopefully tomorrow or so. These two are ready to prime. We're ready to start cutting a quarter panel out. But yeah, I think this week will be pretty good. I've kind of held off on the C10 a little bit. I want to get this stuff, I'm again chasing winter, so I want to get this stuff primed up, and then as soon as it's done, I can get the quarter panel done on the back of the lemans. And yeah, we'll be moving forward. And I got some of the last few pieces for the 56, so I'm going to get dabbling back on that thing again. So yeah, we got all kinds of stuff going on. But I'm really glad to get this door to shape up as well as it did. It's been years since I did any shrinking to this extent. Usually it was just a little here and a little there. But yeah, it's coming along. And like I say, sometimes the more you mess around and work stuff, it's just kind of like you end up just, you know, for every action, there's an equal or opposite reaction. So sometimes you go backwards, sometimes it works out. But right now, the little bit of mud I'd have to put on there, I'm completely happy with. So it's going to get a little bit crazy up here by the door lock, but I think we're going to get it. So anyway, thanks for watching. We're going to have more. Hopefully these parts will be gray in a day or two, and we'll be banging a quarter out. So anyway, going to be a good week, and stay tuned.